I first want to apologize for the late start, and I want to welcome each and everyone for another edition of our podcast. And I want to thank Kashika and Kaydeen for accepting an invitation for a pretty much, should I say, sentimental or very touching topic. Both persons would have lost their sisters by the hands of domestic violence. And
Mm.
and as a society, we battle against violence against women and children, which we see predominantly happen in our society. It is Jamaica has been experiencing some weather, and as a result, its chances are that their connection may not be the best, as the weather may impede their connection. But we will see how best as possible we can get through. And I want to apologize as well for the viewers on YouTube currently. That stream has not gone up as yet. But ladies, thanks for accepting my invitation. Starting you, Kashika, how are you doing tonight? Kashika, are you there?
I'm okay.
And you,
Thanks for
Katie,
the
how are you
invite.
doing? Yeah,
I'm
no
doing
problem.
great. I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Um, Kashika, your sister, Kimberly, who the 29th of this year will be 10 years since her life was snatched away by the hands of domestic violence. Could you describe your sister to us for those who didn't know her?
Well, first off, she was an outgoing person. She had a tomboy kind of behavior. Anything a man could do, a woman can do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just basically her. She loves to try new things and have different experiences.
And you two had a great bond.
We had a bond like every other sister. We cuss, we fight, but at the end of the day, we're sisters and she go have my back and me go have hers.
All right. Thank you. Katie, Opal. What was the age difference between you and Opal?
2 years apart.
So literally, you guys grew up
We were
together.
2 years apart. We were 2 years apart. Come again. I didn't hear you.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
I said we were 2 years apart.
Okay. So you guys grew up together. What kind of relationship did you both have?
Bestie. She was my best friend. Our own mother who brought us into the world called us twins. So you know how that is. Even though we were 2 years apart, we were like twins. Opal had a heart of gold. You see her from a mile, you see her teeth from a mile before you see her. She would just be laughing. She was friendly. She was all the good things all the good words. You know, she was a sweetheart.
Awesome. Just to advise my guests that when one person is talking, I may have to mute because the feed is giving an echo. So Kashika, you may see yourself muted at this moment. I had to mute you. So in turns, Kaydeen, when Kashika is talking, I'm gonna have you muted. All right.
Okay.
All right, Kashika, can you unmute? Now, Kashika, the introduction of your sister's baby father. What did you feel about him when you were introduced and you learned of him?
Um, well, the introduction wasn't a great one. The first day I met him, um, it was in Mandeville. It was at Willow Gate where he used to work, and he was in some
Hold on, stick up in Kashika.
problem
I think
with the
hold on, stick.
police, and he was arrested the first day that I met him. So it wasn't a great introduction.
I think what is happening, Kashika, is your connection.
My sister got pregnant at age. She got pregnant at the age of 15. So knowing about him, it wasn't until I learned of her pregnancy when I met him. And as I said, the first introduction wasn't great. It's him, and 5 minutes after,
I think what is happening, Kashika.
I'm gonna see if the connection is.
All right. Can you? I mean, I appreciate seeing you on here, but to try to help to advance the quality, can you kill your camera?
Sure.
And if there's anyone who is inside the room who is listening off a feed, we're getting a feed. So can they move away from you? Are you hearing me better now?
Yeah.
I'm gone.
All right. So you were mentioning, Kashika, that you had a bad interaction the first time you met him.
Yeah, the first experience meeting him, as I said, I only learned about him because of her pregnancy. And within 5 minutes of me meeting him, he was locked up for some altercation that he had with a fellow coworker.
Oh, wow. Kaydeen, according to news reports, I'm still getting an echo. I'm not sure. According to news reports, your sister would have been married for 5 years. This
Six,
is from, I'm sorry,
20, I think it's six,
it's
six,
six.
20,
Learning of your
2013.
brother-in-law. Learning of your brother-in-law, how did you feel about him?
Honestly speaking, when she met him here in Jamaica, she came to my wedding and we were coming home in a taxi and he was in the taxi and he heard us talking. He was very silent and then he came back here at the gate the other day, a few days after, and asked for hope. I said to him, "Are you sure you're at the right place? There's no hope living here." But he didn't get the name correctly. It's Opal, but he got the name Hope. So I said,
Mhm.
"There's no hope living here." So him said, "Yes, man, this thick body girl, you know." We came down in the taxi the other night. I said, "Oh, you mean Opal?" He said, "Yes, man, something like that." So we said, he said, he said, he's here to see her. So I said, "All right, give me a minute." And I went and I called Opal. She was running to the back of the house and she came around. She was kind of, because she couldn't remember him either because I tell you, they're just meeting now.
Mhm.
So they stepped to the side, they spoke while I was on the veranda for like 15 minutes. I sat there, I observed. She came back after the 15 minutes and he left. I mean, I say, what? She say, him say him like me. So me say, get away with that, you know? She say, and I think I like him too. I say, girl, stop talking rubbish, you know, and the conversation ended. Then it prolonged, I think, because I think they exchanged number and stuff like that. So it happened where they were talking and stuff, and it still prolonged where she kept saying to me, Kaydeen, I think I like him. And it was a big age gap between them also. And I kept saying, no, I don't think, you know. But she kept saying she like him. Now, when it comes to my sister, the relationship that we have, the love that we had, if that is what makes you happy, all right. I was not in agreement with it. I didn't see him as a match for her, but she liked him. So I say, all right, if that makes you happy, well, okay. And I can tell you, I was not his favorite person, and he was not my favorite person. But he was my brother in law, so I accepted him as my brother in law.
Kashika.
Okay.
So early on, your sister would have gotten pregnant for this person, right? At age
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize that something was off right here?
Um, I would say right off because of him getting her pregnant underage while she was going to school. But as Kaydeen just said, um, it was her choice, and the only thing I can do is accept it because you can't really make a choice for anyone. But the first meeting was the first red flag. Um, we had a family gathering in July. The 14th of July is my mother and my grandmother's birthday. So we had a family gathering. And he came here. He came here and like you meeting family for the first time, you will go around people and try to interact with the people that is there, that is a part of the family that you're entering. With him, it was a total different thing. He stayed by himself. He stood to himself. He wasn't in conversation with anyone besides me and another family member that knows him prior to him coming here. Um, his personality itself and the person who he is not someone ideal that you want for one of your loved ones. But as I said, you cannot make a decision for anyone. You just have to accept it and try work with it.
Okay, but now that you saw all of this, and I would want to assume that just like Kaydeen and Opal, you had a bond with her where you could share things in confidence. Did you at any point try to understand what attracted him to her?
Um, I tried. We all tried. But the relationship that Kaydeen had with her sister, I can honestly say I did not have with my sister. My sister is not the type of person to speak about her problems, or if she have an issue, or if something is even bothering her. She's not the type to speak about it. She rather write it down or write a poem or try to express herself in those ways. In order for us to actually communicate and know when something is wrong with her, we would have to find a book that she is writing or find some form of paper that she has written her feelings down on. That is how we know when something is wrong with her. She's not the outspoken type. She's not the type to talk about her feelings or when something is bothering her. But you, as long as you see her writing, you can just know her feelings is going down in whatever she is writing.
Okay, thank you. Kaydeen, you would have you not that you didn't like him, but he wasn't your favorite candidate for your sister, or person for your sister.
No, no,
When
no.
did your instincts started to prove that you were actually correct? Did Opal at any point in time came out rightly and tell you what was happening, or you saw these things, these red flags coming out?
My first red flag, he got through and he went abroad and they were living together. In 2015, we visited, me, my husband, and my son. And he actually showed his true colors then, that night. He created a brawl, got drunk, created a brawl, like he wanted to fight my sister. That I was really astonished because then I say I didn't know him as that kind of person. Because after they got married and he spent some time here, most of his time he was living here with us until his filing came through, then he went. So he was humble, calm, part of the family and everything, and But what the first red flag now is when we went up. First thing he did, he was acting like we were strangers. And then he tried fighting my sister that night. Something happened. I think he went on the road drunk and she spoke to him about it. And a big scene. Police came. Actually, he called the police because he thought my sister was going to call the police. He called the police. Police came. He got locked up. That was the first time I saw something went off. Then my sister went and got him. And from then, any issues they would have, she never hesitate on telling me. Some of the times I would say to her, boy, go along about him business, man. But I could see where my sister loved him. She loved him because he would mess up all the time. He would call her describe her some descriptive words. When my sister tell me, I say, no, 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 man, you're bigger than that. You can't tolerate that. and she would say, "This is it," and then they just come right around and make up back. And as I said, I love my sister to death, and if any whatever makes her happy, I was fine with it. But deep down, honestly, I prayed and I wished that she would have just let him go when he messed up, but she was always, welcoming him back. So that was it. First time. Then she started calling me, and she would tell me the stuff that he's doing. Complaints. Um, I used to advise her as the younger sister. I say, you cannot be in a relationship. You argue. There are 7 days in the week, and you argue 6 days. You're only happy one day. That's not good. And as for the kids, my sister's children, I don't think they were much in favor of him also for her. But out of love again, that's their mama. And if that's your choice, well, so be it.
Okay. Um, Kashika, I think you can open back your video because I think when I'm talking and you're unmuted, that's when it echoes. So when I'm finished talking, I'll unmute so it can enhance the quality of the audio. 15 years old, got pregnant, baby is born now. Has the attitude changed? Because persons tend to believe that a child can change a man. If it's the only thing possibly can change a man is a child to make him more mature, improving his decision making. Did you at any point in time see any improvement in the relationship after the baby was born?
There wasn't any improvement. If to me, it got worse because when my nephew was born, my sister, how can I say it? Everyone that she interacted with, it became a problem. We have family members and cousins, friends in the community. Once it's a male, it's a problem. Any arguments or confrontation that they get into, anything that he purchased for my nephew, he'll destroy it. So to me, it got worse. It wasn't any better. It just got worse and worse and worse until it reached where it is now.
So basically, you would say jealousy was one of the major red flag that was being displayed.
It was the most, yeah. I think the jealousy, it turned into obsession, and the obsession turned into rage.
At what point did you notice that? What first did it become physical abuse now?
Um, I think my nephew was 1 year old. I think he was 1 and a few months when I first learned of him being abusive. She was up by my grandmother's house, and a few friends and family walked her down by my mother's house. And when they were walking down, he came and met her, and he used an object and hit her. And the guys came back up the road and they informed me and told me what happened. And I went down there with some friends, and someone in the community called the police on me, saying that I had guys there threatening him to kill him. That was the first time I heard I knew about abuse. And it was at that time that I knew abuse was there before, prior to that incident.
Kaydeen, you made mention that when you came to the States, you saw where he had intent becoming becoming physical against your sister, but at no point in time did it became physical.
Yes, it did. Not in my presence, though. She told me.
But although you mentioned that it's your decision, I'm gonna go with it. Did you reach to a point where you say, you know what, enough is enough? You need to make a decision to go.
Sure, I did. When he broke her nose. When he broke her nose, she hid it. But she told me. She sent me a picture and all of that. And I said, no, you know, this is it. But it wasn't it for her. She still continued.
Before we
She
get to
loved.
the tragedy, for those females who are stuck in toxic relationships that they believe that this is love, relationships that they believe that they don't know want no other person but this person that they're with, given that it may be toxic, it may be abusive. These are persons who express an excessive amount of forgiveness, of compassion. To those who are listening right now, given that you have seen the first hand of it, whereas by you have seen where the red flags were being disobeyed, what advice do you have to give to these ladies tonight? Starting with Opal, with Kaydeen.
All right. For advice, I'm speaking of experience. My first child's dad was abusive. And it never take me anything to just walk away. Because if you're gonna be abusive, I'm not gonna stay in the relationship. And don't you dare speak about or think about we have a child and you want the child to grow with the mom and dad, so you're gonna bear all these, abuse because of the child. That is one advice I always give. I always say, listen, the child will grow and the child will know who his or her dad is. So I've been
Mhm.
through that. And I walk away from my child was like 1+. Now I am here. My child is all grown up and he definitely know who his father is. So I'm not advising any female who has been who is in an abusive relationship to sit there, cover up, and use the child to say, I don't want to leave. I want my child to grow with no, no. At the end of the day, you're the one who is gonna suffer. The child will grow up and know who the daddy is.
And for you, Cash, what advice do you have to give to these women who continuously to ignore red flags?
Yeah, basically to feedback off of what Kaydeen just said. Old people have a saying, it's not really old people, but we Jamaicans have a saying, once you pick me born, can't wait for you hungry. There is no greater love than self-love. Self-respect.
Self
There is
love.
no greater love than that. And if someone is in a relation that makes you second guess or question your self-worth, yourself if you're worthy enough or if you're good enough, they're not for you.
On I remember I could almost be sure it was a Friday. I was residing in Cheapside, and I saw the helicopter, and we were advised that there was a crime scene.
Yeah.
On that day, were you at the house? How were you advised of it? In the smallest snippet, because I know it's an emotional roller coaster and it can be very difficult to go to drag your memory given that the 10-year anniversary is coming up. What do you remember from that day?
Okay. From the morning, I should say, um, I got a call from my sister saying she was crying and she was saying I should tell my neighbor to come and get her. So I asked her what happened. She didn't say. She just said to tell my neighbor to come and get her. I said, okay. I hung up the phone. I wasn't in the house. I wasn't in St. Elizabeth. For those who know me, I was living in Negril. I just gave birth. My son was 2 months and 3 weeks. So I was in Negril and she called me and called my neighbor and told him that she said he must come and get her. He called me back and said he came over here and now the next phone call I got, I thought it was her because it was her phone calling me. It was my nephew's father saying, um, I won't be hearing from her anymore because she's dead. Phone call ended. Um, my grandmother started calling me. I was paying attention to my son, so I missed her call, and then the next phone call I got was someone telling me my sister is dead. And after that, the phone just ran rapidly, one call after the other. One phone call hang up, another one came. My grandmother called. She was crying, could barely hear what she was saying. And then I think it was one of my cousins who called and said that um, my nephew's father called and told someone that he was dealing with besides my sister, that he won't be hearing from him anymore because he killed my sister.
And this was in the presence of his child.
Yeah, he not only did he murder her in front of him, he also raped her in front of him. She was raped, beaten, and murdered in front of the 2-year-old. And he pushed my nephew out after all of that. And then he started, he cut a hole out in the ceiling and started moving from room to room, setting each room on fire.
And for those who don't know, we're speaking of the Kashika, the sister of Kimberly, who got murdered on the 29th of November, 9 years ago, which happened in is it Content or Four Roads?
Bremerton Hall.
Fast forward now to court with everything that has transpired. There were allegations or there were belief that he got special treatment because he has a close relative who is in the police force. And as a result, that may have been one of the reasons why so much resources was exhausted in ensuring that he got out of that house alive. Now, for viewers, I can firsthand say I was there that day. It was the very first and only time in my life I've ever been tear gas. And the level of protection that was placed on getting him out, I've never seen ever in the entirety of this country. Most only the prime minister have been protected to that magnitude. And they did get him out. The beauty for him was that the place was grilled, so he could not have been mobbed because I would assume he locked himself in. But for you, Kashika, do you think that the justice system failed you, and how many years did he get in prison?
Um, in towards to what you just said a while ago. Yeah, I do think his relative, she had a lot to do with the treatment that he got, because I have never ever heard of someone committing murder and being allowed to get bun and cheese, cigarette and juice while the murder scene is still a murder scene. I have never heard of that.
On the day of
So
the murder?
on the day of the murder, um, as I said, I wasn't here, but in towards what everyone has told me, they asked him if he was sitting in the living room comfortable, and they asked him what he wanted, and he got bun and cheese and juice, and they offered him cigarettes. So yeah, I do think his relative do have a lot to do with him getting away. um he was in the ceiling of when the soldiers and most of the police came, because no one came until my grandmother bawled out for murder. When she said murder, that was the time when police actually showed up at her house. When he was committing the murder and doing everything, she called for help. She called for police. No one was there, and no one showed up until she said murder.
Stick a pin. Kaydeen, it was Kashika's situation may have been different. That happened in the morning. But I remember your situation with your sister May would have transpired probably closer to night. And somewhat similar, Kashika got a call, and this young man, a voice note circulated. He had the nerve to cold blooded murder your sister, innocently call his mother, sent a voice note that lasted over 2 minutes. But just before the buildup of this murder, what was your last moments with her? Did you see this coming?
Not at all. We were on the phone. She works for the state of Georgia during the day, and she has a night job that she does from home with U-Haul. So she was in the process of doing her U-Haul job. And while she was doing her U-Haul job, she was locking her hair. So we were more texting because she was using the phone to speak to the clients. So it was a Wednesday night. I can remember quite clearly I used to do this bar thing where we used to have the girls' night drink out. That night was my drink out night, and it was being kept in Bentown. But I decided that I don't want to be there. I will stay home with my child. And my husband and everybody was there. And we were texting, and she went into the bathroom. She took a picture of her hair that she was doing. She sent it to me and said, "This is where I'm at." There are times you will see me post that picture. And I text back and say, wow, but you are one man. You know, it look good. And she texts me back and say, yeah, you know. And I sent her another message. I cannot recall what the message was. And I sat there waiting for her to reply. But I felt no way because I know she's working. So if she's speaking to a client, then I have to hold on until she answers me back. While I was there waiting, my phone rang. It was her husband that was calling me. Normally, when she would do her night job, he would go in the room because the surrounding they had to be quiet. So I thought he was in the room ringing me. So when he rang my phone, my answer was, boy, go to your bed. He used to call me Dean. So he said, Dean, Dean, twice. I say, yeah, well, one. I'm just calling you to tell you that you won't be seeing your sister anymore. Mr. Boy, what happened to you? Go to your bed and stop talk foolishness. Um, he said, by the way, what are you talking about? He said to me, because him just kill her. He said, Jermaine, come on from my phone. Come on from my phone. Let me call it back. Let me call it back. He started saying something about you were the only person, but I did not stop to hear because my intention was to ring my sister's phone. Because my sister, the relationship we have, if she in the biggest meeting and I'm ringing that phone, she's gonna open that line. And if she open the line and I put it to my ear and I hear it's a meeting or something, I hung up. But my sister never yet not take my call. So all my intention was to call my sister. Because after he said, when I said to him, let me call you back. Yes, I said, let me call you back. He said, no, don't call him back. Because by the time I call him back then, I wouldn't get him because the police would have already got him. That's when I started to feel some type of way. So I said, bye-bye, bye-bye. And I rang my sister's phone. And when I rang my sister's phone, it rang right out. And right there and then, I knew he killed her because she never not answer my call. And I hung up and I rang again. Rang straight out. Remember now, I'm home alone just with my child. Everybody out partying. I went into a state of shock. That's all I can say. No tears cannot come. I'm just looking at my phone, taking off my eyes. But I know I felt like a whole flame of fire was set around my heart. And the only thing I could do was stretch myself out on the table in the kitchen. And I gave a big, ah, that's the only thing I could say. And my son heard, jump up, look. And I said, it's nothing, baby, it's fine, go back to sleep. And I tried calling him back, but I didn't get an answer. And I started calling my husband, but they're at the party, so nobody ain't hearing their phone. And I'm there alone. My entire body is warm. And I'm just in a state of shock. So I called and I called and I called and I called until finally my adopted daughter answered the phone. I tried to hold my composure because I didn't want them to know what was happening. So I said to her, see if you find my husband and let me speak to him on your phone because it seems he's not hearing his phone. Maybe he's out in the noise somewhere. And she walked out the bar because she was in the bar and she found him. And I said to him, still trying to hold my composure, I said to him, can you walk out the crowd? Let me say something to you. He was laughing and said, one note, because him think I was joking. And I couldn't hold it anymore. I said, Randy, Jeremy, stab Opal and kill her. And I just hung up the phone. I know he said, you must be joking. And I hung up the phone. And I was in my room alone. I think it started circulating because he was doing this voice note thingy. He called my mommy. He made that voice note. He called other persons and saying stuff to them. And I was there alone because mommy was in Florida. Now I decided to call my niece and nephew and my daughter because they live down the road from my sister. So I rang my daughter's phone. And from the open the line, all I heard was screaming. I just hung the phone up again. Still looking out of space, still looking at the phone, still in shock. I rang my sister-in-law's phone in Florida. When she answered, I heard my mom in the background crying. Jermaine, kill Opal. I just hung up the phone. My niece and nephew dad was there. He was there. And I called his phone. I said, what is going on? I'm trying to be brave, but I was weak as a rat. I said, what's going on with Opal and me? He said, Kaydeen, the boy killed Opal. I said, what you mean the boy killed Opal? The boy stab up Opal and lock her up in the house. And he said, how you know my sister is dead? He said, you know the kind of sister you have. If she was not dead, she would have opened the door a long time and come outside on top of her voice. And she not come out. So they call the son, they call everybody. The detectives came. You know, it's not like Jamaica where there's going to be a crowd where persons are going to come and gather. He locked her up in the house. He drove up the road. And I guess that is when he made all his calls and his voice notes and stuff. And then the police came. That's when I think they kick off the door or something like that. And that's when they went in.
He turned himself in?
Excuse me?
Did he turn himself in?
Yes, he did. He called the cops. He called the cops to come and get him. Called the cops. However, I was told by my niece's husband that her daughter, that they were the first one who got to the house. And as I say, it was in America, so it's not no crowd and nobody taking pictures. Nothing like that took place. Even though I heard they were circulating a picture with some girl with a knife in her neck, which was not Opal at all, because nobody saw Opal in that state except for my niece's husband. And he actually kicked the door off before the cops got there. He ran straight down to in the passage, and he told me one day when he could have he was fully up to this day. I think he's fully traumatized. He told me he went down to the passage, and when he went in there, she was face down, all bloody. And he said they all call her mom. So he said he was doing like touching her and said, Mom, Mom. And his hand went straight through her throat. And he said he just ran back straight out the room. When he was running out, my daughter and my sister's daughter was running in, and he turned them back, and they closed back the door, and that was it until the cops came. Now they had me. By now they had me on video call, and not a tear shed to this moment, because I'm just looking at him in shock. And I saw when the detectives came, they, draw them yellow tape. Two people, only family members were there. No strange, nobody now come out of the house and stuff like that. They went in, and what they saw when they came back out, I heard one of the detectives cried. The eye water was running. He said, as a police officer in Atlanta, Georgia, and dealing with domestic violence, is the first in his life he has ever seen something like that. 62 stabs and her throat cut right off, just a little piece. Hold it onto the back. And I was there still in.
So until this day, only the description which have been issued to you, you can only try if you ever try to see what she had looked like. You still never got that opportunity to see her in that state.
No, I did not see her in that state. I viewed her, but not in the bloody and all of that. No, because I only watched them on the phone. I didn't see anything inside because nobody went inside but the detectives and the persons who that came in the ambulance. And those homicide people. Those were the only thing I saw was when they were pushing her out on a trolley wrapped up in a white sheet. No
Okay.
tears up to that minute because I was in a state of shock. And I can remember when the detectives said, okay, you're gonna have to do some cleaning up now. So all I saw was the inside, the blood splash on the wall, the blood splash on the door, the clot blood in the sofa because he took her from behind and she was on her computer and her computer faced the wall. So he took her from behind. The lungs was punctured, clot blood was in the sofa, blood drawing along the passageway, and she went straight into the room. And I guess that's where he finished her off in the room. So blood was splashed all over the door, the white wall, everything. That was all I saw on camera. But when I flew out like the following day and went up and did the viewing, I get to see her body. But she was cleaned up. But it could show that, the neck was gone because everything was here. Just
Oh,
gone. And I had to do an interview with Fox News.
yeah, I saw that
Because
one.
nobody didn't want to do it. And I braved up and I did it because, I had to talk. And to the relationship that we had, I think it reached a point where she started hiding and few stuff from me in the last lap there. Because I was convincing her, I kept saying to her, let him go. You don't want that. No, that's not yours. Just let him go. So I guess stuff been happening and she was kind of hiding it from me now. That's all I could say. Because
So,
the last story she gave me before she died, he was working at this place that she got the job for him. Something went wrong. He was called up by the supervisor. He was spoken to. He took off his badge. He walked off the job and he was just home every day. She said this particular morning she was leaving for work at 7. She turned around and she said to him, you need to go and find a job. I can't be going out every morning at 7, leaving you in bed, coming home at 5, you're still in bed. That is not what we got married for and you came here for. We got married for you to come and we work together as one. So if you, my sister said to her, if you have no intentions of going to look for a job, well, go about your business. And she said to me, his response was, before I go out there and suffer, I kill you first. My sister told me that. And she said she was like a hard cat, you know. She said her response was, go kill your mama. And she slammed the door and she went to work. And he plot that killing. And he did kill her. The internet had a whole different bunch of stories, but you know, we didn't even let those stuff shake us. But he plotted that killing. He plotted that killing and he killed her. And I
Stick up.
found out that he did not like me because of the relationship that my sister and I had. He said it. He said everything for her is me. Everything for you is Kaydeen, Kaydeen, Kaydeen. What's so with Kaydeen? You know? And he said it to somebody one time that if he had a gun, he would kill me. Because everything for Opal is me.
So he was jealous of even his wife's own sister. Um,
Definitely.
Stick a pin there, KD and Kashika. Um, that may have been one of the worst Christmas for you guys. I managed to was there at the funeral, and the level of respect that was displayed. I mean, it is unspeakable. But now that she's buried, and you guys have to get to the meat of the matter, the criminal is not on the run. He is caught. It's court time. This is a man who you'll be facing for the first time who took the life of your sister. Do you remember that first court appearance?
Yeah, the first court appearance was in Santa Cruz. Um, two of his sisters came and said we were telling a lie. Their brother didn't do anything, and it wasn't their brother. And um, I actually got held by the police in Santa Cruz because I rushed one of his sister. I rushed her with a knife, and she went to the police officer, and they held on to me and gave her a chance to leave and go back to Mandeville. Um, the first three court appearances was in Santa Cruz, and then it got transferred to Black River. That was actually when a lawyer there took the case, and we were going to court for something in art. When we were going in Santa Cruz, we were just going to court, it being put off because no lawyers wanted to take the case. When we went to Black River now, someone took the case, and we went and we each gave a statement, and we were talking as it was moving on, it was proceeding in court. Just as what Kaydeen said a while ago, the first time I got an appearance in court and was to speak, he got up and said to the judge, if I was there, I would have been the one dead and not my sister.
In front of
And
the judge?
yeah, in front of the judge, in front of everyone that was in court, clerk of court, everyone that was in the court, he turned and said to the judge, if I was there, I would have been the one that would have been killed, and it wouldn't have been my sister. Going to court and the back and forth and going to court and going to court. He got 30 years before consideration of parole, in which I'm not pleased, but that's just Jamaica justice system. There's nothing more we can do or say.
When he was given a chance to speak in court, when he was given a chance to speak in court, what was his attitude? What was his whole demeanor when first his first time you see him, as well as throughout the hearing? Was there a behavioral pattern that you recognize? And also, did he pleaded guilty to the murder of your sister?
Going to court, you know, when you have a child, right? And the child do something and you will scold the child and tell the child that that is wrong. And being that they are underage and they don't know the difference between wrong or right, they'll start laugh or make some joke of it. That is his attitude. He has a carefree attitude. The only thing that was his concern in coming to court was his appearance and how he looked. That was it. When they displayed the pictures and speaking of the scene and how he was gallivanting in the house and showing her pictures to people outside, putting her pictures to the window, saying a long time she should have dead and nobody can do nothing now because the girl gone, she dead. He has a carefree attitude. He didn't business or care about my grandmother, my mother suffering, them crying. He didn't care. He had a kid. It was nothing to him.
And upon the sentence hearing, I mean, the case is now closed. I don't think there's any confidential information, so much to withhold. What did your lawyer or your attorney requested in regards to maximum penalty?
Um, Honestly, I don't remember. I do not remember. Um, we originally asked for life, and he got life. Let me correct it. He got life with 30 years consideration of parole.
Okay. What was his reaction upon the sentence hearing?
It was not, you have a $50, you lost the $50, you just say, boy, I want 50, I just so. That's his attitude. He didn't care. He didn't have any form of remorse. He didn't business or care. He was just laid back the whole, all right. You know what a recliner chair is. Throughout the whole
Mm-hmm.
entire court case, that is how he was relaxed and how he was. When he was in Black River lockup, everyone in Black River lockup knew him. He made a name for himself. His name in jail was back to life because he had it in his mind that his freedom is a must. This man had no care at all in the world. When he's coming to court, he had on the dearest clothes, the trashiest clothes, and hair well cut. Him look like him there road, make him ready for go a party.
I must say this unapologetically, and this is why, as a culture and as a system, we will never do better because we condone too much wrongdoing. And if what Kashika is saying is true, those family members who continuously to condole in these kind of behaviors and support their family members to the T, because he would have made these requests and got them. It was almost like you're in celebratory mode of what they have done, and it is wrong. And you who believe that this is you expressing love and support to your loved one, I'm not saying abandon them, but I'm saying set an example and make a difference, because what you're doing in supporting these emotional request is like almost like you're giving them the full authorization to say what you have done is right and we're here to support you. Absolute total mess and bullshit.
To add on to what you just said, this man is active on Facebook. He's active on every social media there is that you can think of. I have pictures in my phone where he has had females visit him in prison, taking pictures, posting it on the internet. Up to today, dear, every Mother's Day, he's posting Happy Mother's Day to my son, mother, who is my sister. Up until today's day, I have pictures of him posting with him and females visiting him in prison, pictures of him before my sister died, him posting pictures with both she and my nephew.
And this is happening in prison as we speak. And you can almost or prove that this person is continuously administering social media platforms and communicating with people, which, if my knowledge serve me well, it should be forbidden for technology to be used in prison, and he has the privileges of that still. Have you made a report to relevant and higher authorities, given that it's still considered an insult and rubbing salt into the wound to the family?
Yeah, I have reported it and I have said things. I haven't seen any difference. And yes, it's still going on. It is still going on. As I said, I have the pictures, I have the posts, I screenshotted everything. I have everything in my phone to this day. There's a guy that lives up the road from us, from where the incident took place. They have the same first name and the same last name. And I think it was 4 years after the incident took place, he was using that guy picture on his Facebook until he changed it to my nephew's baby picture. Until now, he has changed it to his picture, and the background picture, I think it's a picture with all three of his kids.
Wow. Stick up here in Kashika. Kaydeen, you had a long flight, probably one of the longest, most emotional flights after that gruesome Wednesday night. Probably even harder coming going back to Jamaica. When you, I don't even want to think about the funeral and all of that. When you went, did you get a chance to go to court at any of these hearings?
Yes, I did.
What was his whole demeanor like?
Well, there's a bit of difference abroad than here. So when they brought him out, um, I'm gonna be honest, that was my first time in a courthouse. So my situation, and I knew it was my sister, I was just trembling. I trembled like I don't know how I didn't pass out. And when I heard they called his name, because what we did, we all wore the t-shirt of her to court that day. The entire team of us, sisters, sister, nieces, nephew, everybody, friends. But then when they call up his case, they actually didn't let him come out. So we didn't see him. That was the first trial. We didn't get to see him in person. He was like behind a door. So the judge spoke to him, but we could see between the creases he was in an orange jumper. And I think
Mm-hmm.
they asked him his name. He said his name. They asked him where does he work. He said where he worked. And I knew at that point in time he wasn't working. And be honest, I don't even remember what else. But however, it was thrown off and they returned with him. So it was like a 5 minutes and we were out. And let me tell you something. This was the first time of my crying. We left, the court was like 8 in the morning. And from we left that courthouse, I cried from the courthouse straight home. And I cried all day, laid in the bed and I cried all day until my daughter had to come and say, Mommy, you can't do that. You're going, you will die. And all I could say was, I don't know what to do. I went into a state of depression. I spent 1 month. At that time, I was teaching practical nursing. My boss gave me the month quickly. The morning, I just call and I just explain, and she said, just go. I'll find somebody to fill the gap. And 1 month, I was in bed, covered up, not eating, nothing at all. Second court date, I was not there because I came back to Jamaica. Tried teaching, would break down every day in class. Would break down every day in class, but I kept going, and I kept going. And it went on, throw off, went on, throw off. You know, the big court day, I was there, but it was in the time of COVID. So it was a Zoom thing like us now. And I think he pleaded guilty. Yes, he pleaded guilty. He had pleaded guilty. And he was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. At first, I felt some kind of way because I just wanted him dead. I'm going to be honest. I just wanted him dead because I said, my sister is dead. He has to die too. So I wanted him dead. But then my mommy said, well, whatever it is, we can still consider him dead because life without the possibility of parole is just like he's dead. I said, no, he still have life. And as Kashika mentioned earlier, he has a Facebook page also. But guess what? I think, up there in prison, I think he went into this Muslim thingy. So he changed his name. And my mom automatically ran into this people you may know and saw his picture with another name. And we took it, we screenshot it as she said, and we sent it all about, and he even have a partner, have a girlfriend that would visit and all of that. But life without the possibility of parole, I eventually accepted because you, Jordan, you must have known that I had changed my life. 2019, I got saved, I got baptized, and Lord, I had to forgive him. And I forgave him. It was hard. I forgave him, and I started feeling sorry for him. And I say it's just a pity why he had to do it. And to be honest, sometimes I still get upset. And I don't know if I can ever get over this. I tell myself sometimes that, she's gone. And when it comes to her birthday and those things, I would break right down. And sometimes I would like start hating on him, which I have to repent because we're not supposed to hate as a Christian. Start hating on him, start describing him, you know. I have a big photograph of my sister in my bedroom. When I lie on my bed, I look up on it. And there are mornings when I just get up and say, Jermaine, kill Opal. I'm trying. I'm just in a state of shock to this minute. I was in Georgia a couple months ago, and my daughter and I, we kept saying, it feels so strange. Like, is is she really dead? And then the torture, because we thought we never get the full everything, because I had to be going and coming. So the daughter was doing everything. So I thought he she died from the puncturing of the lungs. But when I went back, my niece told me she got 62 stabs with that puncture lung, and they said it was the cutting of the throat that killed her. So she got all those
So,
stabs and puncture.
so chances are she
Huh?
may would have been alive today if she never had that slit throat.
Yes. And then that what is happening to me is like I am reflecting on it and like thinking how was she behaving when she was husband, all of those things that and I know that can lead to
No, you
mental
don't. You
issues.
don't. You don't want to put yourself there because he could have knocked her out before. You don't know. You don't really want to remember that.
Yeah, I keep trying to say, when she got the first stab, what did she do? How she reacted when he was stabbing her? I keep thinking about that. Just keep,
You have,
trying to.
you have to try not to drag your mind there because that can put you in a place where mentally you don't want to be.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. So I tried, I forced myself, I say, snap out of that, snap out of it. So I hardly been thinking about it that way, but she cannot be erased from my mind. I celebrated my birthday Wednesday, and my mother
Happy
had to say,
belated birthday.
thank you. And I had a wonderful party, courtesy of
Me
husband,
too.
courtesy of husband.
My
And,
party, my party
and
was Sunday.
yeah, happy belated too. And the
Thank
first
you.
thing came to my mind when I went there was her. And my mommy said to me, try, please try. It's your night. Please try and don't get emotional. We
And I
had
trust
a
that you did.
we had a bond. If she has a headache, she's in Georgia, I'm in Jamaica. If she has a headache and I see she ringing my phone, she would say, "Oh, my head is killing me," and I say, "I was just calling you to tell you my head is killing me." That's why my mom used to say we are twins, but we are 2 years apart. But I have given Jermaine, he killed the best person ever in our lives. But I have forgiven Jermaine because I have to. I have to. I have not
Well,
visited. I when I went up, my daughter wanted to bring me to visit him in prison, which I really wanted to do to hear what he would have said to me, even though he hated me. But they had moved him to a farther prison because I heard they were beating up on him real bad. Yeah, so
um,
I didn't get.
as we're coming to a close, Kashika, it's the first time I ever say this. I remember your sister's funeral like yesterday. It was probably my second job where I was employed to photographic company, and I remember that morning. That's early Sunday morning. We drove to Santa Cruz. Your grandma was in the car. The baby was in the car. That's Kim's baby was in the car. And I remember someone said on there because when we got there, the undertakers were preparing in the casket. And I remember he said, it's like when Kaydeen said that the detective. I remember when he it was a glass casket and he tapped on it with his little he probably was maybe 2 years old the most. He tapped on it and he said, "Grandma, mom is not answering," and they took him away from it. Now that he's 9, going on to 10, or around 11, how has he been coping?
Um, he just turned 12. His birthday was in October. He just turned 12. Um, through the years of coping, uh, it has been rough. Um, in his earlier ages, um, we had to change his school a few times because of not the kids, but the parents coming to the school and sticking the name of his father killing his mother on him, and him coming home and having to deal with that burden that they're putting on him as a child. We had to change his schools a few times, but where he is now, I think he's coping, or he has it in, he knows exactly how it is in his mind now. Um, as what contact with his father, because there are questions for the only person that has that answer no longer here. So I was trying to get in contact with him through his Facebook account and his Instagram account that he had, and it was a dead end. And I contacted the prison that he's located because of the situation and who I am. They wasn't allowing me to put my number on his contact list to get in contact with him so that he can get in contact with my nephew. Um, as he gets older, the type of child that he is, he wants answers and he wants them truthfully, and he wants to know word for word what is what. I think through his growing up and the years to come, he is going to try and get answers that he needs and wants. But as of right now, he's enjoying his teen years. He's enjoying life. Although he doesn't have a mother and he doesn't have a father, he has many mother figures and he has many father figures. He doesn't miss anything that his parents would have been able to do. It's just that the bond, he would want that at times. He see me with my son and he see that closure and that bond with their parents. But as I said, he hasn't missed out on anything.
Your connection was breaking up in the initial part of your answer, but has he, from the incident, have he had any form of contact with his dad?
No, he hasn't have any form of contact with anyone on that side. No. when he was younger, he had a contact with one of his aunts, one of his father's sister, Market. Time he hasn't had any form of communication.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, as I was saying, he hasn't had any contact with that side of family. He only knows this side of family.
Okay, thank you. Kaydeen, um, did did Jamin have any children with Opal? Did they get any kids together in the UK?
No.
But
Opal
for
had
her
two
children,
children. Yeah.
for them, how has life been for them?
It was really rough. It was really, really rough for them. They are grown kids because the daughter was married, but the son, I think it hit him really, really hard because at one point in time, when I was share stuff with them, I heard that he was pleading for bail, and the son said he personally, if they had given him a bond, he personally would bond him out, and he would just shoot him and just walk into the jail. It has affected him mentally more than the daughter. But I think and my daughter also, because my daughter was living with her. She was her legal guardian then because I had signed her over. My daughter went into a state of depression. She came back to Jamaica for a couple
Mm-hmm.
months to, build herself. Her daughter, I don't know. I don't know. It hit them hard. I know. They stopped working. My daughter was going to college. She quit college. The son was just, you know, and to this day, I think it has changed them completely. Yeah, it has changed them. Every year they would celebrate, you know, on the night that she passed and her birthday. And, I am now the mother figure of them all. Because when she died, her grandson, her first grandson, because she don't know the second one, was pretty small. When I left, she buried in October, and then I came down and I went back in February. And when I entered the house, he ran to me and said, "Mommy, Mommy, Ma is here," because they call her Ma.
Mm-hmm.
Ma is here. He thought I was open. And
Oh.
everybody had to be in their corners crying, but we couldn't let him see us crying. And my niece said, who is here? He said, Ma is here. Look, Ma, that's Ma. Ma is here. We cried. We cried. And to this day, everything that comes out of their mouth is Ma. You can know that, it's just that they were grown, so they understand what happened and they could handle the situation to an extent. And my sister was cremated. We didn't have to deal with that casket and all of that because that was her wish. She told me if she should pass before me, and she told her children she wanted to be cremated. Now, with regard to the cremation, um, the ash was not thrown away. The ash was not scattered anywhere. The ash was shared. So I have a keepsake of my ash. I could show you. It's right there. Everybody get their little keepsake. And I don't know if I'm wearing it. our little locket. It's not around my neck, but we have our lockets with the ash. So we didn't share the ash or anything. So we didn't throw away the ash or anything. We kept the ash so everybody have a little of the ash, and the son has the big urn.
Okay.
This one has the big urn.
Um,
But I know they're still going through a phase because this is something the entire family will never ever get over.
I don't think anyone could have found the effort or could found the resources together or something like that. Kashika, 10 years later, coming up to the 10-year mark, which is in about 2 weeks. Um, I mean, she won't come back as tough as it may sound, but what if he could hear you in closing, if he could hear you right now, what would you wish to say to him, as well as how do you forecast the continuation of living in memory of your sister and also not only being an aunt but a mother to his child?
I don't think I have words or I would want to say anything to him at this present moment. I'm not sure if further down the line I would have questions or anything to say, but at this present moment, I have nothing. I wish nothing to say to him, and that's just to leave that there. However, when it comes to as it's coming towards the 10-year mark, and as Kaydeen just said, it's something that you would never ever be able to get over. Never. The pictures and the crime scene alone, I don't think anyone would want to see or see and to know that their loved ones is the reason of those gruesome pictures and those things. Um, Kaydeen said something earlier towards her sister getting the 68 stabs and her throat being cut. Um, my sister had cuts and bruises all over her body, and her jaw was dislocated, and the right side of her jaw was broken in various places. And if those were the only damages that she got, she would have been alive. But because he used the weight that he used on workout, he used the weight and hit her in her head back that cracked her skull 32 different places. She's an asthma patient. She has asthma. That was the reason of her dying with the smoke that the when him cut through the ceiling and go up and start the fire, and the mattress, all of my baby clothes, my clothes, her son clothes, her clothing, some sheets and quilts that my grandmother have. If he didn't pile that on top of her and started the fire, she would have been alive today's day. Um, Going towards in the future, as I said, it's something you would never get over, and it just gets easier to explain and easier to talk about. You have the emotions run through your body same way. The feelings that you felt on the day, everything just reoccur and you feel it over and over. It never gets easy. But talking about it and having someone to share and know that you can talk to someone who has been through the experience and know what it is, it does get easier to talk about, but the pain is still there.
Thank you. Katie, I'm sure that there's a possibility that his family members may be looking on, and if they have connection to him, they will transfer this interview happened. But you said that you wanted to go to see him. If
Yeah.
you had gotten the chance to see him in the smallest way, what did you intend on telling him? And as for you,
My intent.
futuristically, how do you envision life? How do you envision life with continuing with the legacy that your sister has left?
All I wanted to ask him why. That's all I wanted to ask him. Why and what happened. Because only him, her, and God could tell us what happened because they were the only ones there. That's all I wanted to ask him. And the thing about it, my daughter went to see him in jail before he was sentenced. She went and she saw him without none of us knowing. And her question to him was, you killed the most important person in everybody's life. What what do you want me to tell my mommy in Jamaica? She's down there dying. And his answer was to tell me he is sorry. He is sorry. That's it. But I think some of this, as you said earlier, was jealousy because I was told that he was saying everything for my sister is me. And as a husband, I don't think, why should you be jealous of your wife and her sister? And yes, he did that because I can recall. Things keep coming back. I can recall that same night, 2015, when we were up there, he came and he pointed up in my face. Yes, he pointed up when my sister was talking to him about going out there drinking and stuff. He walked out the house and he came and pointed in my face and said, you see you, Opal never rang to you yet. In the presence of my husband. And I don't think my husband, he's a humble guy. He did not say anything, but he never spoke to him again from then until this happened. But with regards to his family member, his mama, and us, we had a very good relationship. Opal and her had a very good relationship also. And from my perspective, my son wanted to like retaliate and I took him and I said, listen, his mother did not tell him to do it. So it's a case where we are dealing with him and not the family. I saw her once from it took place in Mandeville. And it was me and my son that was walking. She was shunning a bit. And I walked up to her and I hugged her. I hugged her and we both cried and cried and cried. You cry, but you don't know what to say to each other. We just hugged and cried, and that was it. And that was the last time I've seen her from that time. I saw some of his aunts. I don't know. They approached, but when you feel like you might be shunned away, but no, I give them a hearty welcome because they weren't the one who did the crime. They weren't the one who told him to kill my sister. And the heart of forgiveness is here. But if and sometimes I think to myself, I said, if he had that hatred for me, maybe if I was there the night, I would have died too. Because I wouldn't stand there watching him stabbing my sister and not even trying to say no, or so maybe he would have killed me too. Sometimes I
Fine.
say to myself, I really wonder because he don't strike us to be that kind of person. He don't look like that kind of person. So how in heaven could he have done something like that? To this day, I question that.
Well, I
But
guess as you correctly said, he alone and he alone will know why that transpired, but that doesn't
he and her,
warrant
he
anyone.
and her and God.
Hmm. Um, Finally, Kashika, I in the most respectful fashion, seeing that you are being exposed to this at first hand, how do you apply some of the morals, some of the mishaps and misfortune of your sister to build on your morals and to become more aware? So when you see these things, you're able to especially even use it as a guide in your relationship.
Um, Honestly, it's just to know and to see certain red flags. And whereas my sister is the type of person to never speak about her problems and all that she's going through, and I'm the total opposite. If my head hurt me call my granny. If me I have a conversation with somebody and them raise them voice after me call my granny, me call my daddy, me call everybody and tell them, say, look here, the situation you know for me. Something happen. Um, I think my sister's situation could have been avoided and helped differently if she spoke up and spoke out. Um, what she went through and what we experienced as a family, I try to do the total opposite. As me say, if me head hurt me take up phone and call and make somebody know. So if I'm in a situation where as someone is raising their voice and I don't feel comfortable or pleased in a situation, I'm informing someone, I'm telling someone, and someone that can move and do something about the situation, not just someone to sit down and talk with and gossip with, or someone to say, oh, say, caution our man in an argument and this, that. No, I'm calling someone to help me get out of the situation, to help me. Because as we've both been speaking on tonight, love is a powerful thing. And the love that you have in your mind, the person might have a love, but for them love, as me said before, it can be jealousy, and the jealousy turn into rage.
Mm.
Mhm.
If I feel uncomfortable in a situation, I'm making it known. If I can't help myself, I'm calling someone to help me and push me towards moving from that situation and taking myself out of that situation.
So I guess the main is the awareness of communicating how you feel.
Yeah, I strongly believe that um them always say people always see the downfall and the faults of other person's situation and can never see the faults of their own situation. I can say there was a lot of red flags in my sister's situation. I might be in a situation where someone else looking in say there's a lot of red flags in the situation. The difference with me and her is I rather speak about it, and if someone sees the red flag and see where I'm going down this road, I would want someone to help me. I want someone to offer that helping hand and say, Cash, this enough for you. And from that moment on until now, I think every female in my family has used my sister's situation as a wake-up call and as a standing point to never be in that situation again. Even some of my friends, some that have over the years become family and know her, if we see each other going in a situation or in some form of predicament where we see the road a pave out and it a pave out in the same way it paved out for her, we just have to sit down and look on each other and say, say the situation is going the way we're in supposed to go.
Okay, thank you. Um, Kaydeen, I've, I've I've held high respect for your marriage, and I mean I know your husband for years now, who I met through you through him, and I admire your union so much. But
Thank you.
a situation like that, where you watch love turn ugly, fatal, how much mental effort you have to put in your marriage to make sure that you don't let the thoughts of what happened corrupt your mind, because I would assume if you're not strong it will play games with your mind and your headspace.
And okay, and to be honest, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I have never. He was just there for me. It's a case where I, I never. He's just the opposite of of Jermaine. You know, he has never approached me in a manner that would give me a reason to think that he would kill me, because we're talking about killing. No, not at all.
No, just to make this clear to people, you're, this is a young man who have had high regards, high respect. He's very humble, very loving, and I mean, you can just about talk about any and everything to him. I'm still wonder till this day that if he's in the right profession, and that is why I asked the question, because
I
Katie would have
understand.
witnessed her sister die first. Hmm? I
Say that
didn't hear that.
again.
No, I'm saying that is why I asked, because it would be unfair to him for what happened to toxicate your mind in a place where you get defensive, you don't trust man no more. So that's why I asked the question in that way. Like, did you have any thoughts now? Like, what am I in? Will this happen? Like, how did you manage to take yourself away from that mental space?
He he was my strength. He was my strength. He was there for me. He was the backbone. I to how he dealt with me when I went through all of that could never lead me to think that way about him. Because first to begin with, that man don't even talk, although they say is when they don't talk, they they will tend to do stuff. But no, I don't see him as that kind of person. Nothing has ever erupted that lead me to say, my God, Jermaine did this. He's acting like this. Wonder if no. And I have to give God thanks for that. And I really have to give God thanks for that. Because he knew the bond we had, me and my sister. And he was there for me till now. Till now. They're
Um,
unpredictable. Men are unpredictable. They're unpredictable because I know Kashika didn't in a million years wouldn't think that young man would have murdered her sister. But sometimes this comes from way back, how your family history, how you grow, the way you grew up as a child and all of that. Nobody knows if that young man went through a situation that led him to have this rage in him, but all of that. But as for my husband, no, I don't see that. Grandma grew him up to be a ladies' gentleman and to do the right thing.
I know persons can tend to misunderstand. Not saying you for the viewers, I'm not saying he is, because he's absolutely not. What I was interested to know was how Kaydeen dealt with her mind, her head space. Because when you see a man can do that gruesomely to your sister, it can mess with your intuition of trust and who you love. So it was just about what technique she used to overpower her fear, even though she would have already been married years upon years. But again,
Mm-hmm.
situations do happen. One of the predominant things that I recognize in closing, one of the predominant things I recognize in both cases, I could see where these men drove fear into the late sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it was done verbally or it was done physically. And as a result that the fear was driven into these females, it shut down communication. And what they did, they got them into a world where it was, they felt like giving up. I remember Kashika's own, where her sister, the morning, I think CVM brought it on here, where they found a book that was burnt. And it was like she was just writing. So at times, it's like they're in a nightmare, they want to cry out. And if you don't realize, sometimes we may, because the situation sometimes happens so reoccurring that you think it's just another day. They might go, all right, they might go fix it. And I am hoping and praying that the statistics will improve and livelihood will be better, especially for these females who have been abused, molested, murdered, and taken for granted by these young men who seemingly who have no heart, because they know what they're doing. For someone to can gruesomely murder an individual and then have the guts to make multiple phone calls and lock themselves in a house, drive to a safe location, these people know exactly what they're doing. And in closing, I'm praying and hoping that relevant authorities put measures in place to protect women when they reach out, specifically Jamaica. Because a lot of time you hear them can't do nothing, the threat is just a threat. You are trained and you are given the responsibility to protect and to reassure. You cannot say, oh, it's just a threat, him not going to do anything. Because a lot of times, not saying it may not have happened or happened in this situation, a lot of times females run to help. And when they run to help and the police come and talk it over and gone, it irate the whole situation. It is a very delicate situation, and I'm hoping and praying that our women can be more safer and more protected by who is supposed to protect them. And for those who keep disobeying red flags, because Jamaican man have this thing for saying, if the man no beat you, the man no love you. That's nonsense. That is nonsense. And a lot of you who stay in these abusive relationships, first one to say an accident, second one to say a problem. Ladies, remember, you train a man how to treat you. So if you become beating stick, then one thing will lead to a next. I pray and hope that this interview, I intentionally break it down in stages so you can see with the beginning, dealing with it, and the after effect. So if you are at the beginning of an abusive and a toxic relationship, if you do not want it to get to the mega phase where lives are taken and to the ending phase where the pain is continuous, then do what is best. Walk away and run for your life. It is as simple as that. These two ladies, one has been fighting this for 9 years plus. The other, still an ongoing battle. And it took a lot of guts and nerves for them to come here and say this. And they didn't say this because of publicity or popularity. I reached out to them. Both of them keep a low social media presence. It is to raise awareness and knowledge for you to realize that we're moving in an upward direction where we do not have any place in society for these kind of behaviors. We don't condone them no more. So use this interview as a means of a wake-up call. And if it requires, let me tell you something, the strongest woman you will find in this world is a single independent woman who is have herself together. A lot of you are putting yourself, you yourself is toxic, you're finding people who is toxic. You cannot want to enter your life with someone who you don't know. Date accordingly. It's not stop, meet somebody today, sleep with them tomorrow and Sunday, and go make a life when you do not know if you can contend with what they have to offer. Google, and stop use Google for TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram alone. It is very, very important that you understand the concepts that make up life and develop some morals, values, and norms. Kaydeen, Kashika, I thank you so, so much for giving me 2 hours of your time that I can pay on for. And I hope that God continuous blessing will stay with you all that has been keeping you for the last 10 and 5 years will continue. And I encourage you to use whatever knowledge you have to continue to inspire and to bring knowledge to females who are struggling. May the peace of God continue to be with you all, and may God bless you and keep you. We will keep in touch. Until then, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.